Now we're going to add in some AI. Let's update the requirements.txt to contain the following third-party packages. And let's update the main.py file to contain the following contents. And you can see a number of import errors at the top. So let's sort those out by creating the following files. Let's create another helper file. Let's add a folder for storing the schema for this application we'll be building. And let's add a config folder with a tasks.yaml file and an agents.yaml file. And let's populate the helper and the schema folder and the agents.yaml file and the tasks.yaml file. And of course, let's pip install. If we look closely at this config folder, we can see we're creating a team of agents who are reporting the latest news regarding Haiti. This is what we're going to roll with for demonstration purposes, and you can easily tweak these prompts according to the niche you're interested in. Let's now run this updated application and see what happens. All right, we get an error that says missing OpenAI API key. By default, CrewAI, the multi-agent framework we're using, uses OpenAI for powering LLMs. It supports other LLMs, but as I mentioned, OpenAI is the one that it supports by default. If you're new to all this agent stuff, here's a diagram that shows what I mean. And in the context of this video, an agent is a virtual person, and the LLM acts as this virtual person's brain. We can get an OpenAI API key by coming over to platform.openai.com and signing up. After you're signed up, make sure to add some credits to your account. OpenAI's platform is pay per use. It's like a gas station. And I suggest adding whatever the minimum allowed amount is, because the cost of what we'll be doing here is only going to be in the pennies. After you have credits added to your account, come over to the dashboard API keys section and create a new API key. Call that whatever you want. You can leave every option default, by the way. And then copy the provisioned API key into your project by coming over to the .env file and adding a new entry that reads OpenAI API key equals, then paste in the API key. And when that's all set up, let's try running our application again and see what happens. It looks like it's working. If we take a closer look at this config code, we can see we're creating two agents, a manager agent and a reporter agent. And this is the task that we're assigning to these agents. We would like them to perform research across this list of websites. And if we come to the main.py file on line 56, the configuration gets tied together. As of the time of recording, CrewAI lets you run your agents in two modes, sequential mode and hierarchical mode. Sequential mode means that the agents are going to perform the tasks outlined in the tasks.yaml file sequentially from top to bottom, one by one. With sequential mode, you have to map each task to the agent you want to perform it. In hierarchical mode, which is what we're using, we assign one of the agents in our crew as the manager, and we assign tasks to the manager. The manager will automatically break up the tasks we assign it into subtasks and will automatically assign each subtask to the appropriate agents in the crew. If you're familiar with this agent stuff, one way of thinking about it is the worker agents become tools of the manager agent. Depending on the LLM and other implementation details, the reliability and reproducibility of running hierarchical mode agents can sometimes be impressive and can sometimes be atrocious. But for the job of synthesizing information across a number of websites, I find hierarchical mode to be a worthy match. Let's run this crew of agents a few times to get a better feel for what it's doing. Let's come over to the tasks.yaml file and let's edit this list of links to only have one. And then let's run our crew. If we come back to the main.py file, we can see that the crew will be spitting out its results into a file called report.md, this file right here. So let's wait till the crew is finished running and let's see what it spits out into this report.md file. All right, it finished running and let's open this up. And we can see that we're getting news from the one website that we have listed in the prompt. All of these are coming from the same source. Now, let's add the second website in this list. So if this is working as expected, we should see news results from two websites. All right, it finished running and you can see now we're getting news results from two different websites, right? You can see in the sources, the source link is coming from the two websites we have listed in the prompt. All right, just to make sure this is working as expected, let's add a third website to this list and have our agents perform research on these three news outlets. And when I say research, what's happening is the agents are instructed to load all of the text on each web page, and they're prompted to extract the most meaningful or the most relevant information given the current date. So here we are. If this works, we should see news results from three separate sources. All right, so our crew finished running and yeah, so this first result is coming from Haiti.loopnews.com. This second result is coming from lenouveliste.com. And this third result is coming from HaitianTimes.com. So things appear to be working, and I hope that gives you a good feel for what this little multi-agent application is doing. Okay, so using this report.md file is useful for debugging, but we don't need to track it in Git. So let's add another entry to the Git ignore. And now we're ready to move on to part 6. In part 6, we're going to send this AI-generated news report via email to a list of subscribers.